Okay, welcome to the Real Wedding Podcast. I'm Stephanie, an event florist of 7 years, and I'm bringing you real talk for real couples planning real weddings. My goal is to have short, helpful, down to earth chats on all things weddings to keep you confident and excited to plan your big day without the overwhelm. Today, I'm here with Logan of Logan Lynn Photography.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming. I'm so honored that you came all that way to see me.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Okay, so how did you get started in photography and how would you describe your style?
So, photography has been a hobby of mine for a really, really long time. My mom had an old Canon like soccer mom camera when I was growing up, and I would make my little sisters pose for me. I would find like cool blankets around the house and literally make backdrops in our house and dress my sisters up and do all of these different photo shoots with them. So I think like from the beginning I loved it, and then throughout high school I took photography classes. In college I took photography classes. And I think for me it really was just this is something that I enjoy, but I never anticipated that it would turn into a career ever. Like it was just fun for me to do. But then so I actually I was doing my nursing prereqs in college, and I had always been in the medical industry. Like I worked at a vet hospital for a long time, and then I wanted to move into human medicine. And so I was in school for that during COVID, and
Yeah.
our college shut down just like every other college. And so we had this whole year period of, well, some of the classes switched to online. Some of them were like, you can't take these classes until school opens back up. So in the meantime, I had already had my first camera just for fun. And all of a sudden I started getting a lot of like family friends that wanted pictures, or, like I had one family friend that was getting married and they had a really low budget. So they were like, okay, can you take the pictures at our wedding type thing? And it honestly like snowballed from there, where it was like, this is something I love doing, and having people reach out to me, like family members, family friends, and then it just dispersed from there. And it was like people that I didn't know started hiring me. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to be a thing? Like I got so excited because I was like, this would be such a dream to do this for work. Like it's something I love. And then I honestly never went back to school, and it just snowballed. And I had a full time job at that point. So I worked at my full time job until photography took off enough that I could financially do that full time. And I quit my job and now I do it full time. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
The
yeah,
organic like trajectory is
yeah,
the best
yeah,
because it's just
yeah,
kind of meant to be.
yeah.
Falls in.
That's how I felt. And it was like amazing because I think I'm still in this period where I'm like, is this my life? Like, do
Yeah,
I actually get
I
to do
love
it?
that.
It's so cool. So yeah, so that's kind of what started it. And I think my style, of course, has changed over, I feel like it's always changing, but I think documentary is not really like, I feel like there's this inconsistency with like documentary photographers and editorial. And I feel like I'm more of a cinematic editorial photographer, where a lot of times I'll like kind of tell couples where to stand and I'll move them around a little bit, but I try and be as artsy as possible. And I want them to receive their gallery and feel a lot of emotion,
Yeah.
when they're looking at the
Yes.
pictures. So I think like that with mixed with like very romantic, moody, like that kind of stuff. Cause I want them to feel things. I don't
Yeah.
want them to look at it and it's like a stale wedding gallery.
Yeah. I am huge on feeling photography. I have a
Yeah.
couple of photography friends, and
Yeah.
I think that the difference between, there's a lot of people that take really pretty pictures,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you can't feel it.
Yes.
You can't feel the intention
Yes.
behind the
Yes.
capture.
Yes.
I don't know that everybody, like, I wish more people kind of could see that.
Mhm.
So for me, even flowers, like a bouquet of flowers, it's important to me that my brides and my couples feel the intention.
Yeah.
Like I didn't just slap it together.
Yes.
I very intentionally
Yes.
curated this
Yes.
to the best of my ability to match what they wanted.
Mhm.
And I love your style because it does feel so like you're capturing organic moments.
Yeah.
Like when I
Yeah.
look at it, you just like you can feel the love between the couples and the family
Yes.
because you're like capturing them in the best way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very I've never really quite seen like how you're able to capture. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's very like friendly and warm
Yeah.
and organic. You are doing
Thank
really
you.
good.
Yeah.
And so you do everything.
Yeah.
You do families, maternity, baby, boudoir as well.
Boudoir, yeah. So I think like majority, I do mainly weddings, families, and boudoirs. Those are like my happy place like in this industry. I do like some in-home newborn sessions like with families. Like I
Mhm.
do those sometimes, but I feel like those three, that's consistently what I do
That's your
majority of the time.
okay.
Yeah.
What is a common misconception or issue that you have run into when couples are trying to compare photographers and pricing? I know. I've always said
There's
like
so much
it's
here.
not like flowers are not apples to apples.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love nothing more than when I had a bride very recently and she was like, I got two different quotes. I sent the same information to both florists,
Yeah.
me being one of them. And
Yeah.
she's like, they are so wildly different. Can
Mhm.
you explain why? And I was
Why? Yeah.
honored
Yeah.
that she asked that question.
Yes.
And my
Yes.
first thing was like, thank you for asking because
Y
I was able to tell her why. I didn't see the other quote, but
yeah.
I was able to
Yeah.
tell her why mine would have been different than somebody else's. There's a lot of different caveats. So
Mhm.
how does that factor with photography?
Yeah. So I think kind of similar to what you just said, there's a lot of, I think it's great that people are kind of interviewing different people and they're not just like sticking with one photographer and they're like, great, their pricing's great. Let's hire them.
Right.
And so in a photographer's case, I think the misconception comes in when people reach out to different photographers. Let's say I offer an 8-hour wedding package and a minimum of like 700 photos they get delivered in that package. And of course, there's other things in the
Hmm.
package, right? Well, then they go to another photographer and let's say I charge, 7 grand for my package. And then this other photographer also offers 8 hours, also offers 700 photos, but they're charging 3 grand. Of course, some people are like, oh, well, they offer the same thing. So I'm going to go with the 3 grand, like
Right.
similar to what your
Yeah.
situation is. And I think it's like when people don't ask what the difference is, they're just going to go with the cheaper option, but they're
Hmm.
not taking into consideration the experience, how, like in my case, how weddings are captured, how I work under pressure because of my experience.
Hmm.
There's so many things contributing to my price point. And I think that value is so important for clients to know, because then they hire the cheaper option and that's fine and dandy. But then I've had horror stories told to me by multiple clients that have gone with the cheaper option. And then they reach out to me after their wedding and they're like, I hate my photos. And that's happened often, like a handful of times that
Yeah.
I can name off the top of my head.
And it's because I think it's harder because it's not like tangible.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not like 200 image gallery versus 700 image gallery.
Right. Right.
It's all those things that you have to ask.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
and
what
if
I'm
you're
hearing.
not
Yeah.
asking, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially for me, like, I don't sometimes clients will reach out and they're like, "Hey, I went with somebody that was a little bit more in my budget," which is totally fine, I understand the
Yeah.
budget, but I don't ever know who they're going to, right?
Sure.
So, like, I can't and it's obviously not my place to be like, "The photographer that you hired is not gonna give you" you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not gonna be the quality that
Right.
you're wanting, and I think it's hard too when you're on the phone with a client and, like, I really like to get to know them. I wanna know their vision.
Hmm.
I wanna know why they're reaching out to me, which a majority of the time is because of the emotion behind my
Hmm.
pictures, and that takes a lot of experience to provide that. It's
Yeah.
not just you just show up with your camera and you know how to work it, and, like, that's all you need to do. And so I can't really like after they've hired someone else, you're not going to get the same experience
Right.
because I know who they are and I know photographers
Mm.
and I know that they don't provide that type of style, but it's not my place
Right.
to say that,
Right.
So it's like,
Well, and you are very consistent. Your
yeah,
work
thank
is
you.
like a consistent point of view in
Thank
the
you.
best way. And they're like different, but
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you did that canoe shoot.
Yeah.
And it was like very, I don't know, it was like a step back in time almost.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was like I like traveled
Yeah.
back to like a ranchy, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. So fun. It honestly, during that shoot, I was at a retreat with some other photographers from California and it spontaneously started raining. Like it wasn't supposed
oh,
to
it was like
rain.
moody. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a whole tablescape set up and everything. And actually, right before I went to take pictures of it, it was like this downpour. Like we heard thunder and immediate rain. And so that couple, they were so amazing. And they were like, let's just go on the canoe in the water. And so we were like, yeah. And so I was literally like getting drenched. I had like a jacket over my camera to get that shot. And it was so good. Like I would do that over and over again.
It
It was
was
amazing.
dreamy. You could tell. Like
Thank
there
you.
was just magic.
Thank you.
What is the most stressful part about your business? Mine is social media and all of that
Same.
technology. Everybody so far has been like, that's the
Ugh,
worst.
it is because it's like that's the part that you don't really like. Obviously, I didn't become a photographer because I like marketing. It's because I like
Right.
taking pictures, right? And editing them and getting my clients' responses to
Hmm.
the photos that I send them. But it is overwhelming. Like posting on social media or marketing, it's like, and I tend to overthink, right?
Hmm.
So, like, I'll look through a gallery and I'm like, looking at a wedding gallery, for example, I delivered 900 photos in this gallery. And I'm like, what do I like? How do I pick
How do you
10
pick 10?
pictures? Yeah. And then what do you put for the caption and
Yeah.
just things like that? It's so hard to come up with that. Like, I'm just not creative, I feel like, in that aspect.
And at first, AI, I'm a big fan of AI in general, but like
Mhm.
then it got, I don't know. Had it write captions for me. I'm not going to lie. I'd be like,
Yeah.
caption this photo.
Yeah.
And I used a couple of them. And then I realized that you can like really tell
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
generated. It's not, I was
Yeah.
using it because it was easy. But then
Right.
I realized
Right.
for like 2 or 3 posts.
Yeah.
And then I always do like an audit where I go
Yeah.
back and like clean things up.
Totally.
And it just wasn't
Yeah.
like, it's
Sometimes I think it's like it's helpful in the way that for me personally, it's hard to articulate like what I'm trying to say.
yes.
So I think it's helpful in that aspect, but I get what you're saying because sometimes you really can't tell if it's like,
You can 100%
yeah,
tell. It's
yeah,
like inauthentic.
yeah,
And I am very much like everything I put out there is very raw and real
yeah,
because like
yeah,
honestly, I don't have time to like I don't have time to make it like picture perfect
yeah,
on
yeah,
Instagram,
yeah.
like
And you honestly shouldn't have to. I think
no.
like for me, when I posted very like unfiltered raw stories where I'm like venting about something or I'm like talking crap, like I have so many people that are like, oh my gosh,
It's
I love
refreshing.
this. Yes. Like
It's
it's
refreshing.
nice to hear that side of it because not everything is like picture perfect
Right.
all the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Is there anything about the wedding industry in particular that couples don't realize until they're in it? Like, do they have this glossed over kind of romanticizing something?
Yes. I think there's been a lot of like short engagements happening,
Yes, I agree.
which love that.
Yeah.
Love that. But I think what comes with that is that clients don't realize how early on vendors get booked. And
Mhm.
so, let's say someone like I've actually had this happen where someone reached out this month and they're inquiring for like a July date. Sometimes I have dates available. Like it's not that I'm like completely fully booked for the
Right.
whole year, but the realistic expectation or the unrealistic expectation that all of your vendors that you've wanted for your wedding for all of these years are going to be available on that day when it's 6 months away.
Mhm.
That's not realistic. And that sucks
Yeah.
because you want them to have that. But I think like I have had a lot of clients that reach out to me before they're even engaged. And they're like, I want you to be my
Oh.
photographer. I'm looking at this month. What days do you have available? Like they know they're going to get
And they're
engaged.
okay.
Yeah. And so they'll kind of reach out, especially if it's in the fall, because obviously fall is pretty
Yeah.
busy. May this year is insane. But I think that's where that kind of comes in where people are not prepared for that. Like they think, oh, I'm just going to reach out to these vendors and I'm going to pay for them and book them and
Mhm.
everything's going to be fine and dandy. But then they realize that like they've been booked for 2 years for that
Yeah.
date, and it sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. And I've been noticing for my answer to this question, it's like there's no real right way to
Hmm.
do things.
Yeah.
And more so now than ever, because it used to be like you book your venue first and then you book
Yeah.
your photographer. And there's
Yeah.
like, the proper
Yeah.
planning
Yeah.
timeline.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like all over the place,
Hmm.
which I love and hate because
Yeah.
I've had somebody book me before they even booked their venue.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, I know I wanna work with you because family and friend referrals.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're getting married yet, but here's
Yeah.
that, which is
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wait, well, how?" Usually, I mean, florals are usually quite a bit down the
Yeah.
line. Like, I need my venue,
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
my rentals,
Right.
and then I need my flowers,
Yeah.
but it's all
And I think that contributes too, because depending on the venue, which correct me if I'm wrong, but like depending on the venue, they're going to have a different vision depending for
100%.
flowers,
Yes. Yeah.
or a different budget for
Yeah.
flowers. Cause it's one thing if someone books this like beautiful winery, like the flowers are going to be very different there as opposed to like a wedding in a barn,
Exactly.
you know?
And for me, I'm like, I mean, I'll do whatever you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a stickler on scale and I'm a
Yeah.
stickler on vibe. Like, you're not going to have like a super editorial thing in a ranchy barn.
Right.
I mean, you could, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
suggest it. You know what I mean?
It's
So,
probably not going to come out how you're thinking.
no, it's
Yeah.
probably not. I'll do
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's just been interesting
Yeah.
out there. From your perspective, what part of the wedding day tends to be more stressful than couples expect, and maybe what parts are easier?
That's a good
This is a
question.
yeah.
So family photos 100% takes the cake for me of the most stressful part of the day. I think people don't necessarily think about it because they're like my couple specifically, they'll be like, oh, like I've had this happen a few times and I hate it. I ask for a family photos list a month beforehand because I'm like, sometimes there's changes that are made last minute, which is totally fine. Or maybe even like, I don't know, anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks before the wedding is usually when I prefer to receive it because I break it down and I do like grandparents first so that they can take their pictures, go enjoy cocktail hour. We don't want grandma and grandpa standing around for 30 minutes waiting for their photo, or kids first. Like there's an order that I like to do it in. And I've had some couples where they've like forgotten to send me one and I'll check in multiple times and they don't send it because in their head they're like, oh, it's easy.
We'll just
Uncle Sam,
yeah.
like it's very easy. Just throw everybody in for a picture, but it's not that way,
Yeah.
especially when it's a venue. Like obviously every venue is different. So there's some venues where everything's done in the same area. And there's some where you have to drive here on a golf cart and take the family over here. Like there's a lot of behind the scenes work with that. And I think couples don't realize that. And then I've had it happen a lot where couples don't anticipate it being that stressful. And then after family photos, they're looking at me like wide-eyed, like I need 15 minutes of silence after that.
Yeah. Well, and then drinking too, with
Yes.
because sometimes, Uncle Sam is at a few in the parking lot,
Yes.
or,
And you have to him. Yeah. And then it's like someone goes and finds him and then someone else walks away and you're like, oh my gosh, everybody stay. It's like herding sheep.
Yeah.
Like you have to like keep everybody in the same area. But
how important do you think family photos are actually, like extended family photos are? So for me, my only point of comparison is like corsages and boutonnieres.
Yeah.
I'm like, get rid of them.
Yeah.
The groom should wear one.
Yeah.
Maybe the dad, but groomsmen, they just get smashed. They look like garbage. They fall off. The photographer's having to like repin or like flowers are breaking. It's just not worth it. It's not a wise.
Yeah.
And like, if they're gone, almost no one notices. So like translating to family photos, because I'm thinking to myself, like, I maybe have I guess I do with me and my husband and my parents and then his parents in like my photo book.
Yeah.
I don't know that I took any with my aunts and uncles and grandmas and
oh my gosh. Honestly, in my opinion, I am not the biggest fan of family photos. I think it's just because I'm like parents for sure, siblings for sure, aunts, uncles, cousins, second cousins twice removed. That does not make sense to me.
Right.
I'm like, realistically, no one is going to think in their head, let me look back at this photo where all of us were looking at the camera and smiling with like these people that we see once a year.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. Like it doesn't make sense. Grandparents, I can understand because it's like, you may not have a lot of pictures with them or like good pictures. But I think this is also where it's important to hire an experienced photographer because I think so much emphasis is put on the family photos. Like these are the only good photos we're going to get.
Right.
But that's so not true because I think like I'll even use this as an example. I did a wedding in December at Fire to Fall Ranch.
Yeah.
And I think, sorry, I'm going off on like so many different tangents. I think it's important to get to know your clients and who is important to them. Reason being, this couple, for example, I want to say they called her Baba. It was like their grandma.
Okay.
She was so important to them. I didn't need to ask them if she was important. They showed me that she was important. There were multiple times throughout the day before the ceremony where they're like, where is she at? I want to see her. I want to give her a hug, whatever. Like, and this bride had lots of sisters and they all talked about her in a very high way. And so I was like, okay, so this is someone that I paid attention to during the wedding day, right? It wasn't that I needed her to be in a family photo with the bride and groom and look at me and smile. It was like during the ceremony, get her reaction if she cries.
That gave me goosebumps.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, that is something that they're gonna look back at, and that realistically, that moment is gonna be so much more special to them than just a picture of them,
Yeah.
right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think there's, like, a lot of pressure on the family photos area where they're like, "We need to make sure we get pictures with everybody
Yeah.
and make people feel important maybe too."
Mhm.
But I just don't think it's necessary. Like, parents and siblings
Yeah.
and grandparents maybe, but
I'm with
that's it.
you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It is about making other people feel like a tradition was upheld when it
Yes.
really doesn't matter to you
Yes.
as the
Like, are
couple.
you actually gonna print them and put them in it?
No.
Probably not.
Mhm.
And I do albums for my clients. Like, I actually recently added those into my, collections because I'm like, I just think it's so important, and people can take them out if they don't want them. But I would say 90% of my couples, I've noticed, they don't pick like, I let them pick the pictures in
Yeah.
their gallery to go in the album. They don't pick hardly any family photos.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, they're not the ones that you're really all that excited
No.
about.
No.
Like, no
Yeah.
disrespect.
It's
You know
not
what I
just
mean?
for like, "Oh, I want them to feel important,"
Yeah.
type thing, which that's great, but, like, do that during reception. Just be like, "Hey, get in for a picture really quick,
Yeah.
smile." Great. Like, there's no reason to do, like, the fancy
Yeah.
pose
I
ones,
agree.
you know?
Or if you want extended family photos, like maybe that is a like, over Thanksgiving break. Like you book
Yeah.
a family session
Right.
and you get kind of a
Right.
different like
Or what I've had some people do is do, like, a massive group photo, right, of this entire side of their
yeah.
family. There's no need, good lord, there is no need to do I've had this happen, and I've told my brides, like, "I love that for you, but that's not gonna work with the timeline." Where they're like, "I want a picture with Aunt Joanne and Uncle Sam,
Mm.
both of them together. Get Aunt Joanne out, bring in Uncle Sam, take a picture like that. Take Uncle Sam out,
Oh,
bring Aunt Joanne." There is no need for that. There's no need. Do a big group photo, all your cousins, aunts, uncles, and parents
yeah.
get in, take a picture, get out.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm like, you're easily going to look at that picture just as much as you would look at it if it was just you individually with this random uncle. And then you with each individual cousin. And like, that's just,
And the more
that's
time it
crazy.
takes, I will say, like people, and even me being a florist, the things that people notice at a wedding and will talk about for years is the weather, which you can't control.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
it was super hot or super
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
And the time they're waiting. And usually like music and food.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So those three things your guests will chat about
Oh, yeah.
years after.
For sure.
And so when they're waiting for all of these pictures,
Mhm.
they're like
Oh, yeah.
looking at their clocks
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they're gonna go home and be like,
Yeah.
man, we had to wait a lot. Like
Yeah.
it's been 2 hours.
Okay, and I have so much to say about that actually because so before I was a wedding photographer, my mom was really good friends with a wedding venue owner outside of Oakdale. And before, I feel like I'd just been a part of weddings for so long. And we used to work weddings at her wedding venue. Me and my mom and my sisters would go, and we were just like basically would bust the tables and that's it. Like, or help prepare food, whatever. And I remember this specific wedding, and it has stuck with me through my entire career being a wedding photographer, where this couple was gone during cocktail hour for 2 hours doing pictures.
I'm sure it had a fun time.
Yeah. And I remember, and I was maybe 14 at the time, like, and I noticed it as a 14-year-old kid where guests were complaining. They were starving. At this point, it was dark outside. It caused tension between everyone,
Totally.
right? And so since that moment, like, I obviously didn't know at that point I was going to be a wedding photographer, but now I'm like, I do not want to be that photographer. Like, I do not want to be the person that's like pulling guests away for 2 hours to do family photos. And I will tell my clients, like, I will do whatever you want me to do. It's your wedding day, but I'm telling you that you are going to be complaining. Like, you're not going to want to do it.
Because they haven't eaten all day.
Right.
Or hadn't eaten enough.
Right.
Drink water.
Yes.
They're a little hangry.
Yep.
They're irritated.
Mhm,
So that
mhm.
goes along too with hiring somebody that knows what the heck they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they're
right.
guiding you through all these things really quickly and efficiently.
Yes.
And getting the important things that you want done in the right way.
Right. Yep.
Like,
Totally agree.
okay. So is there any part of a wedding day that tends to be more stressful than couples expect, and any part that's easier than they expect?
Easier. I feel like some people, I have a lot of like type A brides, which I
Yes.
love that for them. I'm very type B. So I feel like I do really good under pressure.
Yeah.
But I also think that a lot of type A brides are really, really, really worried about like the timing of things. And they get in their head about like, oh my gosh, are we running like 5 minutes behind? Like they get really stressed. And I think reception, they kind of get stressed about like, oh, is this happening at the right time? Like I think that
Mhm.
stresses them out. And I think realistically, that is the easier part of the day for the vendors, maybe not DJs or maybe not coordinators either. But for me, that's a really easy part of the day because I'm just like, you can get artsy with things, but there's not the pressure of like a really impacted
Right.
timeline
Right.
where it's like, we have to do the ceremony at this time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Everything else, the rest of the evening just kind of flows. But I think that tends to be the easier part of the day. And that's usually also when type A brides are like, they can kind of take a step back majority of the time. But I think I try and reassure them a lot where I'm like, let's just relax. Like you hired a team.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and if you hired a good team, they know what they're doing. And like you just sit back, relax, eat your food, talk to people, mingle. We'll pull you when it's the next thing.
We
You
will
know
let
what I
you
mean?
know.
Yeah.
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 So that is another question too with vendors. So is a planner or coordinator valuable to you, or do you kind of
Oh
like
man.
to go organically? Because I think inevitably if they don't have a planner or a coordinator, the DJ and or photographer kind of
Mhm.
take the lead in
They-
this is what's
It falls
happening,
on.
which I don't know. Do you expect that? Do you like
So
that?
no, I hate it. Honestly, I think this has kind of been talks in the industry recently where a lot of photographers have been honestly requiring that people have a planner or a coordinator.
Okay.
I don't hate that idea because when you're having to, like me, for example, I've worked plenty of weddings in my career where they don't have a coordinator or they have a coordinator that quite honestly sucks and they're terrible
Yes.
at their job. And it's fallen onto my shoulders, which then prevents me from getting to be artsy or getting to take those pictures and put my energy into that part of
Right.
it because I'm so like, okay, what time is it? Like, what time is the next thing? Where do I need to have them at? I think when I don't have to do that and I can fully trust a coordinator is going to come and grab them and line them up. Like I don't have to do any of that. Like that's not my job. So 100% it's valuable. Like I hate a wedding that does not have a coordinator or a planner. Doesn't matter where it's at. It could be the dreamiest venue in the world. If they don't have a coordinator, I want to gouge my eyes out. Yeah.
I love that. So
Yeah.
for a florist, for me, I arrive on site and I fulfill my work order and then
Right.
I'm kind of done. Like
Yeah.
I'm in and out
Right.
and I'm done. Like
Yeah.
and it's great to have a point of contact to say, hey, I'm here. I'm all set up. Is there anything you want to change, to tweak,
Right.
anything that's
Right.
not maybe what you thought it was?
Mhm.
But there have been times where like the chairs were like uneven, like the
Yeah.
aisleway was off center, like there was these two trees,
Yeah.
and
Oh my gosh, I didn't think.
the aisleway was like off
Yeah.
center,
Yeah.
and it wasn't lined up in the middle of the two trees, and there was like 200 chairs. And my husband, he always helps me. He's like,
Yeah.
"Do we move all
Yeah.
of these chairs?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's not really
That's not your job.
that's not my job.
Right. Right.
It's unfortunate. If there were 50 chairs, I probably would have moved
Right.
every single one.
Right.
And
Right.
that's hiring a team too. Like,
Right.
unfortunately, I don't have time to move 200 chairs.
Yeah.
But I can go find the
Yeah.
coordinator
Yeah. Yeah.
and say, like, hey,
Uh-huh.
this is off center. If you have
Mhm.
a team available, you should probably like
Yes.
scoot
Yep.
them.
Yep. I think like I can definitely notice. I think probably also I've worked with so many amazing coordinators that I can't unsee how that event was.
Right.
So
Yes.
like once you work with amazing coordinators and planners, it's hard to go from that to a wedding that has neither of those.
Mhm.
And you're walking in kind of blindly. Honestly, I'm just going to use this as an example and I'm going to put them kind of on the spot. Firefall Ranch, their coordinator, I've worked with twice. It, honest to God, makes me not want to work weddings there ever again. Yeah. Like the most recent wedding, I was like, I don't think I'll work a wedding here ever again. Because I remember the first wedding that I worked there, it was not this last year, the previous year. I want to say September. And my bride has been a client of mine for forever. And she was one of the first weddings there. So in my head, I was like, okay, like kind of giving them the team grace, right? I'm like, okay, it's one of their first weddings. Like maybe they're stressed. Like this is like a lot of people. And it was like a big wedding. I was like trying to give them grace, of course. And on that day, I had not seen the coordinator until the reception. which is
Mhm.
crazy to me. Like,
Mhm.
I had spoken with her once before, but to not see a coordinator or have even she introduced herself or
Yeah.
anything, like, there were multiple times throughout the day where the bride would look to me for direction, and I just was like, "I don't know. I don't know." Like, I'm here to take the pictures. What's nice about amazing coordinators is they're keeping track of time, because
Mhm.
when I'm taking pictures of stuff, like, I'm keeping track of time, but it also is helpful to have somebody be like, "Hey, 10 minutes, we're going here."
Yep.
Like, that's helpful, because then it's like, for me to have to direct more people than just myself and my team is a lot, or like myself, my team, and the bride and groom, right?
Mhm.
And so that wedding specifically, that did throw me off. I was like, okay, so I didn't see the coordinator until the reception. There was a lot of issues with the reception, and like me and my team. And so that wedding was kind of like, I was like, I don't know. So this last wedding, I remember when they hired me, I was like, who's your coordinator? I was like, okay, like trying to mentally prepare myself. They told me who their coordinator was. It was not the same person. I was like, okay, well, I show up on this wedding day. It's the same coordinator. Again, had not seen her the entire day. There were multiple times where like the bride or bride's family was like, hey, like, what are we doing? Like, kind of looking to me for direction, which I don't blame them for. Like, I'm
Mhm.
the only professional that's in the room. And
And you're the only one that's there all day long.
right, right. So,
Yeah.
like, sometimes I get it, like, totally. But I think also it, in a way, for people that don't know, it looks bad on me when I don't know what's going on,
Mhm.
but I'm not the planner or the coordinator, right?
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
it really, the expectation shouldn't be on me. But when I'm the only person in the room, it's like it is put on me because they
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, shouldn't you know? And I'm like, well, where's your coordinator? Like, I don't know what to do. And that day, there was like, specifically, like, this is a good example at that wedding during the reception cocktail hour, typically should be an hour. It was getting to be like an hour and a half, right? And of course, for me, I'm hired for a certain amount of hours. So it's very important
Sit the shoulder
that
right.
things are timely,
Yeah.
right? Especially during reception. Like, it's okay for wiggle room.
Yeah.
But when someone's hiring me and I'm only getting like 30 minutes of dancing and we're 30 minutes behind, that means they're getting no dancing pictures, right? So, and sometimes they do stay. Like, I hate to do that
Yeah.
for my clients. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, let's not run so behind that now I'm staying for an extra hour that was not planned for because everything's not being run in a timely
Right.
manner. Well, in this case, the cocktail hour went into an hour and a half, and me and my second and the DJ were kind of just standing around. And all three of us have been in the industry for a very long time.
Mhm.
So we're all like, okay, where's the coordinator? Where's the coordinator? What are we doing? They weren't lined up for their like grand entrance, nothing. Like, they were just walking around chatting. And so we were kind of like, okay. Well, my second photographer, Kenna, the coordinator came out and McKenna went up to her and was like, hey, are we gonna like get them lined up? Like, what's the timeline looking like here? And the coordinator looked at her and said something like, oh, well, what time is it? And
Oh.
McKenna told her, yeah, McKenna told her, and she looked at McKenna and said, well, if we're ever running behind like that, then you need to just grab me.
Oh dear. Oh no. I
So I think, like, in that case, it's almost like I hate that brides don't know their coordinators before they hire them. And I think this coordinator's to the venue. So that's kind of one of those things where it's like, what do you do?
Well, and that's another thing too, because like a venue provided coordinator and an outside hire
Mm-mm.
coordinator do two very different
Oh, they're
things.
so different.
And
Yeah,
so I think that is a something that brides should be asking is like,
totally.
okay, my venue comes with a coordinator. That's amazing. But
Mhm.
what does this person take
Yeah,
care of?
right,
Because I
right.
wonder if she, in her mind at the venue, was like doing everything that was on her job list
Right.
that was provided to her
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
her bosses.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Like,
she's very different
yeah,
as opposed to someone that is self-employed, that,
correct.
they have their own business
Yeah.
and they want a good
Yes.
rapport.
Yeah, and probably venue to venue, it varies wild
Oh,
with
yeah.
what the venue provided coordinator
Yes.
does and
Yeah.
doesn't do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would be like, I would die to know if she was like, "Oh yeah, everything was great. Like
Yeah.
I did what I was supposed to do."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else was like, "Really? Did you? What were you doing?"
Yeah. Like, I'm like, how do you know what we're talking about? What time it is?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not?
Did you tell the bride you?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
bride probably didn't ask
Yeah.
because like people walking in, they're probably like, "Oh great, coordinator."
Which, and honestly, like, in my opinion, hate that the bride would even have to keep track of time. Like, I
A
want
hundred
them to
percent.
be just like, in La La Land, you know, like I
Mhm.
would prefer that for them because then it's like the coordinator or me or whatever will come and grab you for certain pictures or whatever's next, whatever. But that's why it's so important to have a good coordinator. Like, oh my gosh.
And communication. So that was another question I had is what makes a vendor team work really well together? Like my honest answer is if you've hired a good team,
Mhm.
everybody should be able to do what they do best.
Oh yeah.
And that is all that they do.
Yes. Not
So, like,
getting in each other's way.
yes,
Yes.
we're staying in our own lane,
Yes.
essentially. And,
Yes.
like, then you have something like me where, the aisle was off center or whatever, and I'm like, I will either fix it or find somebody who can fix
Right.
it.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
the communication between the teams, and I'm sure
Mhm.
if they have like a videographer,
Yeah.
I'm sure you have references for, but in the
Yeah, I
event you
do.
don't, you're probably communicating with them.
Totally.
So you're not stepping on each other's
Oh my
toes.
gosh. Yeah.
And that is a huge thing in a vendor team.
Yeah.
Like people have to play nice.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
stay in their lane, but play nice
Yeah,
together.
yeah. I've had a lot of like horror stories like with vendors.
Mhm.
And I think I love this also like contributes to the question like what's one of the questions that's your favorite that clients ask you
Yes.
is who is a good person to hire based off of my experience with them, not because of their follower count, not because they take pretty videos or whatever, but like my honest opinion in working with them, like
Correct.
what is going to be good. Like I've had brides that don't even end up hiring me, but they go with the team because I'm out of their budget or whatever. And then they hire people that I refer to them. And I'm like, amazing. You're going to have an amazing day.
Yes.
Like with that team.
I agree. I did a whole episode I was telling you earlier about vendor lists that are given to brides and how they really need to be asking the question, are the people on this list on the list because you have personally worked with them and loved them and
Yeah.
have vetted their work? Or are they on this list because they paid to be on the list?
Mhm.
Or they're getting a
Mhm.
kickback from being on the
Yeah.
list? Or like there's so many ways that people get on lists and not all of them are the right reason.
Yes. Yes.
And so like I am not anti-vendor,
yeah.
but but I believe there should be criteria that are met before
Totally.
people are popped on a list.
For sure.
So that brides aren't
sure.
like, if I don't know how people do it. They hand people a list that's 10 years old, or they hand
Right.
people a list of a bunch of paid vendors that they've never actually worked
Mhm.
with before in good
Mhm.
conscience. And
Yeah.
then brides are like, oh, awesome. This person that I really kind of liked gave me
Yeah.
this list. And they have not asked the question, like, did these people pay to be on this list? Have you worked with these people? Was it
Right.
updated recently?
Oh my gosh,
Are
yeah.
you
And
getting
that's
kickbacks
so
from it? Like,
important.
it's so
It's so
important.
important. I think like a lot of brides go into it unintentionally a little bit blind because they're like, you know, this is a wedding venue. They've had plenty of weddings, so they know what they're talking about. Like I think brides automatically trust people. And I don't blame them for doing that. But I think those questions are so important to ask because it's like you have to be doing your research. Like you have to know. And honestly, like this is why I tell a lot of brides too, or like even friends of mine that are looking for a photographer, videographer for food, venue, whatever. I'm like, ask people that have gotten married there. Ask people that have had this person as a photographer, whatever. Talk to those people. Don't
Mhm.
just look at Instagram and look at their work and look at weddings that I've done there. Ask questions
Yeah.
because you really don't know.
And all the best
picture-
stuff goes on Instagram.
Right.
So like everyone's Instagram still
Totally.
good for the most
Totally.
part.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But it's like also like in the photography industry, someone can take amazing pictures and their personality freaking sucks.
I have met some.
Like, and that ruins the entire day. It ruins brides' days. Like
Yeah.
I will not name names, but I have a friend that got married recently and a very well-known photographer who is an amazing photographer. She provides amazing work and she has a lot of followers, but her personality sucked so bad that the guests realized it. The other vendors hated it. It was terrible. And it like ruined part of her day because she was so not okay. Like she was,
It's a word of caution too. That's why I put so much unfiltered stuff on Instagram because people are hiring me.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're hiring me.
Yeah.
Not the work that I do, obviously, too, but they're dealing with me. And if dealing with me is going to bum them out,
Right.
then I wouldn't, then we're not the right fit.
Right.
So, like how you
Right.
say you do calls with your couples to make sure you have connection.
Yes.
And like every bride that I've worked with, I would go have a drink or coffee.
Yeah.
And I would like,
Same.
I want to be friends with them.
Yes. Exactly.
And when you have that sort of team together,
Yeah.
magic happens.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like,
It's a world of difference when it's like you have an actual connection with your clients and everything is so intentional in the planning.
Yes.
As opposed to like some photographers or even just vendors in general, which this will always blow my mind. They know the clients' names and that's it. They show up on the wedding day, they know nothing about them. And I'm like, how? Like, I want to know everything. I
Yeah.
want to know how many animals they have. I want to know how, like, who is important to them and their family, what they do during their quality time, how they spend time. Like, I want to know everything
Yeah.
so that I can tell your story better.
Mhm.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's very, very important to get to know them for sure.
I had a wedding this year. I actually have the bride coming on to do a podcast because the day
Oh, amazing.
was everything that went wrong could have gone wrong.
Oh,
Like this wedding was, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it
yeah.
was supposed to be in Big Sur,
Okay.
and they shut down the road to repair the bridge,
Oh, yeah.
and the venue was sandwiched in between, and they had to change venues altogether.
Yeah.
Change venues, get transport. We were in a different city.
Mm.
It went from beach to redwoods,
Oh,
like, and
gosh.
then the
Yeah.
came and knocked over all of her broke
Oh, my
glass. Like,
gosh.
but you know what? The day was amazing, and she and her husband had the best time.
Oh, that's
And their
amazing.
love was amazing. Their photos, amazing. The
Yeah.
photographer, I was there shooting the bowl with the photographer because everyone was running late. The
Yeah.
transport went to the wrong place. Like everything was running late.
Yeah.
I was able to
Yeah.
talk to the photographer for a long time.
Yeah.
Talk to the
Yeah.
venue owner for a long time. We
Yeah.
were shooting the bowl because the vendor team was so great. And she had a venue provided coordinator who could have just said, "I'm so sorry this happened." I mean, it
Yeah.
was Caltrans.
Gosh,
And they
yeah.
were on the phone with like the senator
Oh
and
my
like
gosh.
trying to get this all
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
like 5 days before the wedding.
Oh,
5 days. Anyways, that
yeah.
coordinator
Yeah.
packed up all of their venue provided decor
Oh my
and came
gosh.
with the whole team. And she did not have to do that.
What an angel.
She
Yeah.
was amazing, and she was thrown into she's like, "I'm a venue coordinator. I don't know this venue because I'm not this venue's and
Right.
she's not even
Right.
a third party coordinator.
Right.
She is that venue's
Yeah.
coordinator." Anyway, the team was so amazing. That day turned out phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to talk to her
Oh my gosh.
after
I'm
this.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I want to hear her perspective. She seems so just like light and gracious,
Yeah.
and
Like
I
just
wanna
at ease
know
with
how she
everything.
felt. If she
Yeah.
really felt that way,
Yeah.
because she's like, "My vendor team was amazing. I just knew
Yeah.
they would handle it," or if she was like, "No, I was freaking out," but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
ended up okay,
Oh my
you know?
gosh, yes. I
So
think that having a good vendor team is so underestimated, and I think people, like I think it's good, obviously, to have a budget, but I think sometimes when you're choosing between your budget and quality that you're getting from people,
mhm,
you have to make the right decision because it's like, maybe, obviously, you don't have $10,000 for a photographer or whatever,
mhm.
but it's like going with, like, really cheap people that maybe don't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
that's gonna affect your day so much worse, and you're gonna wish that you would have spent more money
Mm,
on, like, the valuable people that really know what they're doing and can pull through when there's circumstances like that where you have to figure stuff out last minute
mhm.
and you're kinda scrambling, like, that the bride can just sit back and trust her team,
Yeah,
you know?
and she totally did. It was amazing. Yeah, for me, and two, I like when people ask the good vendors will tell you where you can cut down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like for me, if they're like, "I really want to use you, but here's the money that I have," I
Yeah.
can tell you, "This is what will give you the most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
This is what we can repurpose. This is what we can cut." I'm
Yeah.
honest
Yeah.
with you rather than
Yeah.
just saying, "Well, let's just do a little tiny bit in
Yeah.
every single place." Like,
Yeah.
no, let's take your budget,
Yeah.
look at what's the best spend for you.
Totally.
And so, like, I can kind of bob and weave
Right.
with the
Right.
couple if they're asking rather than just being, "No, I don't do that." Or, "No, I don't,"
Right.
like
Exactly.
when you have good people,
Exactly.
they're honest.
Yes. Yes.
So when things don't go as planned, what makes the biggest difference for you in how the day turns out and for the couple?
I think kind of into what we just talked about, like hiring a team that's experienced, that works really good under pressure, which obviously comes from experience. Like if
Mhm.
you're a newer photographer and you haven't been in the industry for a very long time, that's okay, but you may not know what to do when there's circumstances where things aren't running in a timely manner. Or, let's say it starts raining all of a sudden. Like, what do you do in that circumstance?
Yeah.
Like having the experience where maybe in other weddings you've prepared for that, or even on a wedding day now, like when I go into a wedding that's, in December or January even, or really any other month now that it rains all
All the
throughout
time.
the year
Yeah.
randomly. But it's like, I know, like when I'm looking around a venue, usually when I get to a venue, I leave a little bit of wiggle room at the beginning of the day to kind of like walk around if I've never been there before
Mhm. Mhm.
and look at different spots. And I'm like, okay, if it rained, where am I going to go to take these
Smart.
pictures? You know, like thinking of things like that is so important, but somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience might not know to do that. Or coordinators that are experienced, they know what to do and they also know what to do, but not stress their clients out, right?
They hide it. Yeah, they hide it really
Right.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's a lot of like, you have to approach your clients and just see like everything's fine. We've got it handled and not let them stress out because when
Mhm.
you're stressed and you're like, oh my God, what do we do? And you're looking at them panicked, they're going to be panicked and you
Mhm.
need to just like, but also comes with experience, you know?
Do you, pack little snackies in your pocket for
I
your
do.
couples? Because I feel like getting hangry, like,
do.
I feel like you're like, "Your blood sugar's down."
Oh my
How
gosh,
much you
I do. Okay, so I posted a video and this is kind of like what we were talking about earlier when you post like raw, unfiltered stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's honestly better than posting the picture perfect things all the time. And I had a wedding, I don't think it was last year, maybe it was the year before, but I had a wedding where my second photographer took a video of me and I legitimately had Cheez-Its in my pocket
Mm.
during the ceremony, which also it's for me as
Yes,
well, because I'm
100%.
like, my blood sugar throughout the day is just like going crazy. And so I keep snacks in my pocket all the time.
Mm.
And I literally during the ceremony was like grabbing in the back and like munching on Cheez-Its. And just like things like that is so nice because my clients, like, they don't eat, right?
I
Like
don't
they
think
don't
yeah,
eat throughout
that's
the day.
underestimated.
Again, if they don't have a coordinator that either doesn't do this or they're not super experienced coordinators typically will bring the couple a snack plate,
Yes.
cocktail
Mhm.
hour,
Mhm.
snack plate. And some coordinators don't do that. Or maybe they just haven't been in the industry. They don't think about that stuff, but
Mhm.
that's super important. But in my case, I'm like, during that time, I'm taking pictures of my clients and they're sitting there like food deprived and they're thirsty and their brains aren't like even functioning at that
Mhm.
point because the stress of the ceremony and then stress of family photos and
Yeah.
now they're just drained. So yeah, I keep snacks for sure. Snacks are very important on a wedding day.
So, what do you think when people are choosing vendors? So, I've noticed that the younger generation now is a little bit of decision fatigue. It's overwhelming, which I could
Yeah.
totally see
Yeah.
because they're going on social media. Everything looks so pretty. They don't know what to choose. Maybe
Yeah.
they start kind of sifting through, but what are the smart questions that they should ask when they're choosing vendors? Like
Yeah.
whether they're like rhetorical, like they're asking themselves, or that they're
Yeah.
asking the vendors. And
Yeah.